litmus test at this point is simply that people who were not born in this country are animals.
No one would condemn Donald Trump calling people animals more than Jesus Christ would.
But does this sort of rhetoric do anything to advance the illegal immigration debate? Democrat Kevin De Leon is the president pro tempore of the California State Senate, and he authored the Sanctuary State Bill. Kevin, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Hey, Pete, good morning. Thanks a lot for having me.
Absolutely.
Once again.
I want to give our viewers a little bit more context on MS-13. They've heard of them, but they probably don't know that they've been front and center, and the FBI has understood what they've been up to for a long time. This is an FBI special agent from 2010 talking about MS-13. Listen. Oh, I think it's a read. Okay, I'll read it. They say they're the strongest thing going on in terms of organized gangs. MS-13's motto is kill, rape, and control. They want to exert their influence in the area and getting respect from rival gang members. We're talking torturing victims, widespread violence, drug rings, even satanic practices. Would you at least acknowledge that a gang member of MS-13, whose motto is kill, rape, and control, is an animal?
Well, Pete, I can say this, is that I know a thing or two about MS-13 because in my district in Los Angeles, this is where they were created. I've been to El Salvador on 2 occasions with the local and national police. So I have a deeper understanding than I think the president does or members of Homeland Security when it comes to MS-13. The major problem that the president has, he has a huge credibility issue when it comes to the issue of immigration, because he constantly, and I believe purposefully, conflates hardworking immigrant families with individuals, groups who, quite frankly, shouldn't be in our country, regardless of who they are and where they come from. Whether they come from Ireland, whether they come from the UK, Germany, or whether they come from Mexico or elsewhere.
But Kevin, he didn't conflate in this instance. He said, in answering a question from Sheriff Mims, he said, there could be an MS-13 member I know about, and I can't tell ICE about him. So the president responds and calls MS-13 animals. You know them well. Are the practices they undertake the types of practices that animals would undertake?
Well, I can tell you this, Pete. There are folks that, regardless of who they are and where they come from, I wouldn't want them here in my community, my state, in my country. But let's take a step back, because I think it's really important to understand the overall picture on the issue of immigration. When the president began his candidacy as a Republican candidate at the time before the Republican primary was decided, he started off with saying that our friends to the south of us were rapists, drug dealers,
it always goes there, but
murderers.
now you're doing the conflating. You're doing the conflating now, because in this place right here, the president was talking about MS-13, and there are some cities where sanctuary is given to MS-13 gang members, and the feds are not notified, and they're released back into the community. And you know, if you know that as well as you do, and I'm sure you do, that brings violence to those communities. Is the president not spot on? He's not conflating in this instance.
Pete, let me say this, is that it doesn't make a difference if you're a Democrat or Republican. All of us believe in public safety for all of our communities. Let me say this, is that the president has been fixated with California, with my home state. And quite frankly, it feels like we have to take out a temporary restraining order against the president because he's been stalking hardworking California
restraining order
immigrant
against
families.
the president? What does that mean?
Pete, let me say this, is that when you actually detain and deport hardworking families, whether they're housekeepers, whether they're dreamers, whether they're men and women who've been in this country for decades, 20, 25, 30 years, because Washington
a
has
restraining order against the president who's
and
enforcing the rule of law. You still haven't answered my first question, though. Is a rapist an animal? Is someone who rips out someone else's heart an animal? Let me tell you something.
I think I did answer, Pete. I think I did answer your question. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. If you rape a human being, if you commit a horrible crime, you shouldn't be in this country, period. And I've been very clear about that.
I didn't ask about being in this country. I asked about if they're an animal. Their motto is kill, rape, control. Is that a motto of a group of humans or animals?
Pete, let's not get fixated on the word animal. Like I said,
the media is obsessed about it.
This president has lost his credibility. But Pete, this president has lost his credibility on the issue of immigration. That's the point I want to make. The point I want to make is this. God knows that this president actually, quite frankly, God knows that this president, who serves his meals, who cooks his meals, who raises his children, who actually manicures his lawns at his resorts.
I don't think they're MS-13 gang members. See, you're doing the conflating here. He wasn't talking about immigrants, undocumented immigrants, illegal immigrants, or whatever you want to call them. He's talking about MS-13 gang members. I don't think they're cooking his meals, raising his kids.
But Pete, I think already established the fact that whether you're MS-13 or any other gang member who commits any violent crimes, you shouldn't be in our country. Period.
Okay.
But what the president has done, the president has consistently conflated the issue of hardworking families and dreamers with
I
them
understand
as gang
your
members.
point. I think you're the one conflating in this particular instance, saying that he was referring to
Well, we're
everyone
gonna
who was
agree to
talking about
disagree on
MS-13.
this one.
We are going to agree to disagree. I appreciate
We're
your
gonna
time,
agree to
though.
disagree with this
and I hope
one.
you'll come back to us. Kevin DeLeon, thank you for your time.
Please so. Thank you, Pete. Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. You got it. Well, Hollywood can't help but bash President Trump, of course.
I've never thought that Donald Trump is the sharpest tool in the shed, but I have to admit, I've always thought he was a tool.
It's really original stuff. But new poll numbers out this morning may show Americans are getting